Okay, now what I want to do is draw a graph of a paired sample t-test, just like the ones we drew for the independent and the one sample t-test. But before I do that, you need to remember one thing, that a t-value is based on the mean difference divided by the standard deviation over the square root of the sample size minus 1. So in the case of paired sample t-test, the larger the difference between the two means, the bigger t I get. The smaller the standard deviation, the bigger t I get, and the larger the n size, the larger t I get. That applies across all t-tests. The question was, is there a difference in teachers' ratings of the extent of influence they have over school decisions compared to the teachers' perceptions of parent influence over school decisions? So in the chart, when we did this calculation, when we look at the output file, teachers thought they had a mean level of influence of 2.73 roughly, and they said that parents have one of 2.23 roughly. And to make that more precise, the mean difference was calculated at 0.496. So that's my numerator, 0.496. Once I factor in the standard deviation and the square root of n minus 1, then I get an observed t. In this case, my observed t was 29.868. If I ran this experiment 100 times, 95% of the time, I would have a lower t of 0.436 and an upper t of 0.528. My observed t of 29.8 is definitely not between the upper and lower t's. So I conclude I have a statistically significant difference, which is consistent with this 0.000 less than 0.05. So again, what I would say is teachers report that they have greater influence than parents over school-wide decisions. And I would somewhere in that sentence say teachers report that they have greater influence, mean equals 2.73, then parent influence, mean equals 2.23, and at the end, I would say t equals 29.8, p, or significance, is less than 0.05. And I would write that in my closing sentence. So this wraps up t-test. Again, the question is almost always going to say, is there a difference between? So that tells me causal comparative. That helps me know what to run as I'm in SPSS. And then I have to ask the questions. How many variables do I have? And how many groups do I have? And based on the answer to that, you're going to either run a paired sample when you have two variables for one sample, a one sample t-test when you have one sample and one variable being compared to something known for the entire population, and when you have one variable and two independent groups, two independent samples, then you are running an independent sample t-test.